Pivoting to another issue you actually raised in a video last week, there is a very real crisis taking
Yeah.
place caused by drugs. And you did a video which I think went very viral in Vancouver, and you talked about some of the overdose problems there, but it's existing in communities across the country here. And you took aim at a political aspect of this, which was the granting of so-called safe supply that we see particularly in British Columbia. And a lot of people on the left defend that by saying it's harm reduction, that it actually is taking an approach to drugs that is causing less harm overall. Do you dispute that?
Well, I think the facts dispute the approach that both federal Liberals and provincial and municipal New Democrats have been taking. Look at the results. They're in places like Vancouver. The massive increase, the tripling of drug overdoses over the last 7 years. Nationwide, there have been 30,000 drug overdose deaths since 2015, since Justin Trudeau took office. And so the current approach is not working. There's no question that we should use medications to revive overdose victims. There's no question that we should use medications to make the withdrawal symptoms of quitting drugs more tolerable, because it's obviously incredibly painful for someone trying to get themselves off these drugs. And there are medications that can reduce that suffering and therefore help people make the difficult step to clean up their lives. But the problem with the current approach is that it just it's harm perpetuation rather than reduction. And what I think we need to do is, one, shift resources over to recovery and treatment. We're seeing that in Alberta. They've doubled the number of inpatient care facilities. So there used to be, there were 4,000 beds, now there's 8,000. You bring the addict in, give them the medications to help them wean off the addictive substance, detox, counseling, getting into a routine and putting together a plan for when they get out of the facility to stay clean. That's the best way to save lives, by getting people off of the drugs in the first place. Secondly, I think we need to target the most violent repeat offenders. I don't think we should put people in jail for using these substances, but the violent repeat offenders and kingpins who use coercion and other criminal violations to spread drug use, and those who lace drugs with poisons, they should be put in jail. And what we're seeing, like in Vancouver, in British Columbia, the Union of Mayors wrote a letter saying that in Vancouver, 40 offenders committed 6,000 negative interactions with police, mostly arrests. So you have 40 people in 1 year having negative interactions with cops. That means 150 negative interactions per person per year. Imagine if you just got those 40 off the streets, how much less crime you'd have in downtown and east side Vancouver. And then finally, we need to try to keep some of these precursors out. I know it's difficult because a lot of them come in by mail, but we should work where we can to stop both the flow of illegal drugs and firearms into our country from other places. So that's the approach I would take. I think it's common sense. In Alberta, the approach I described has already led to a reduction by almost half in the number of overdose deaths, and that's what we should do. I don't think we should leave people on the street dying in tents. I don't think we should accept that their permanent fate is to be hopelessly addicted to opioids, because we know that eventually that will kill them.